Dear learners, welcome back to your educational channel Learn and Educate, where we will be studying about the entrepreneur, the concept of entrepreneur, wherein entrepreneur is a person who is an agent in the economic system of the country, wherein the person plays an important role in the economic development of the economy of his country. Entrepreneur is an agent, is an economic agent of his country who judiciously use the intelligences and makes the resources in one place where it can be maximum utilized for the purpose of creating economic resources. Entrepreneur is an innovator. Entrepreneur is a person who challenges the conventional way of doing the business, who challenges the outdated methods of businesses and carves out a new method of doing the business. Entrepreneurship as an activity is the dynamic activity in nature because it is the result of it creates the product which is to be sold in a price which is uncertain, and it requires a decision making for obtaining and utilizing the resources. He assumes the risk of enterprise. Entrepreneur is a person. Entrepreneur is a dynamic person because he undertakes to reform, to revolutionize the pattern, the outdated methods of production, and innovates a new method, an untried technological adoption, an untried technological possibility for the production, and thus does and creates a new method of production, and therefore entrepreneurship as an activity and the entrepreneurship as a function is dynamic in nature. The entrepreneur is a person who organizes the resources of the economy. Entrepreneur organizes the material, man, the money into one plan, into one project. His whole and soul is put into one project of a particular kind of either goods or services, wherein the products, the finished goods, will be used by the consumers. Why? Because there is a problem there which needs solutions to be given by the entrepreneur. Thus, the concept of entrepreneur, it speaks about giving his whole and soul to a particular kind of work wherein they create new aspects. Entrepreneur is a person who organizes the factors of production, who operates the factors of production and assumes the risk of a business, who transforms the resources into useful goods and creates circumstances which gives economic impetus, economic growth. He forms the organization. He organizes the organization wherein he is a capitalist, he is the supplier, he arranges the finance, he arranges the capital for the business and then make reforms, revolutionize the pattern of production and the possibility of creating a new product with the old one in a new tried opening way for the material creates new source of supply of the stocks or material for captive consumption. It may also happen that a manufacturer produced a goods, but it is used by another industry wherein captive consumption happens. Therefore, he is also the person who is involved that the goods used may be consumer goods or capital goods, which is used either by the consumers directly or by the industrialist or by the manufacturers. Or it can also happen that the goods manufactured by a businessman is used captively in any other circumstances which is used to produce another finished goods, another consumer goods. Therefore, entrepreneur is a person who organizes the factor of production, who operates on those facts of production, who assumes the risk of a business and then produces a new commodity, creates a new source of supply of material or a new outlet of products. He is an individual who forms an organization. He is in the nature, he is a dynamic. As entrepreneurship is a dynamic activity, he creates a new product, obtains the resources, and assumes the risk of starting a business, assumes the risk of an enterprise. Therefore, entrepreneur is a person who starts an enterprise, who assumes the risk of enterprise, who organizes any entity which would be termed as enterprise. The entrepreneur is a person who makes plans. Entrepreneurs as an individual who judiciously make intelligent use of the plan, who judiciously make intelligent use of the resources, wherein as a personal character because his experiences, education background, the knowledge of the market, any idea of marketing, any skills, any management skills, because of which he makes a plans. He has a knowledge and know-how. He's a technically competent person. He has the knowledge of financial resources at micro level. He has the knowledge. He knows the consumers, what are the demands, what are the requirements, and then he makes a plan. This plan made by the entrepreneur makes positive changes in the business, positive change in terms of competition. He makes a mission. That mission helps to get the break the barrier, break the barrier of starting a new business, and therefore these are its strengths. And he combats the weaknesses. He combats the threats in the business with the help of this plan. With the help of a plan, an ordinary entrepreneur can achieve a success with the help of knowledge of the business, knowledge of the market. The fear of failure. The fear of failure is a barrier for the purpose of entry into the market, for the purpose of starting the enterprise, being an entrepreneur. Thus, the negative negative people's no respectable options for economic, social stigma, and inadequate skills and knowledge, absence of aspirations are the shortcomings for in the starting up of an enterprise. Therefore, as an entrepreneur, he has the courage to make plan, and that plans, that judicious intelligent plan, the most basic plans, but executed, it can result in the terms of economic prosperity. They make entrepreneur have to have a positive change in the business. A few definitions of the entrepreneur which say about as given by Mark Casson, wherein the definition of entrepreneur is given as a person. An entrepreneur is a person who specialize in taking judgmental decisions, in taking the decisions about the coordination of the scarce resources in the economy, the coordination of the resources and creating something new. As Mark Hansen say about a person who specialize in taking the decisions to organize to coordinate the scarce resources and judicious use of them. He is an organizer. This definition speaks about how he organizes, how he finds out the resources and make use of them by coordinating them at one place. According to JBC, the entrepreneur is a person who shifts. Entrepreneur is a person who change the way, who shifts the economic resources out of an area of lower into an area of higher productivity. Entrepreneur is a person who shifts the resources, who shifts the economic resources, wherein the before previously that resources were employed in a lower productivity area, but now he shifts that into an area of high productivity for the purpose of getting higher results, for the purpose of getting results which are judicious, which are giving more economical benefits. Therefore, he generates an action plan to achieve it. He innovates. He has the aim of achieving the goals. For the purpose of achieving the goals, identifies the opportunities in another higher area of productivity, and he skips the opportunity. He skips the current position of lower yield, lower productivity in the current, and shift into a higher productivity. For what? For the purpose of creating something new, creating in an effective manner. He has a strong motive to achieve, to take the risk, and achieve a greater yield. Therefore, entrepreneur as a person, he organizes, he assumes the risk of shifting the resources to the higher productivity level instead of lower productivity. And the entrepreneur is a person who shifts the economic resources out of an area of lower yield into an area of higher yield. He is an This decision speaks about how he is changing the resources, he is changing the use of the resources. Entrepreneur changes, he is an economic man. He's an economic man because he is having a hold on the economic resources, and he's trying to change the pattern of use of the resources the conventional way, the conventional way of doing the business by playing an important role. He is an innovation who challenges the outdated way, the outdated area, lower productivity, and he innovates. He take risk to carve out a higher productivity area. As entrepreneurship is a dynamic activity, it also requires the entrepreneur to be dynamic in his decisions. He has a positive actions because he utilizes the knowledge to support his thinking. In the definition of JBC, as an economic person, he uses the economic resources to area of high productivity. This shows that he backs his positive knowledge with the support of his thinking. He takes any decision with the help of a positive attitude to recognize the new market. He creates new demand. Because of this definition, it shows that he is creating new aspirations and new methods of fulfilling them, and the various factors of production in order to evolve, to create demand, to create the wealth and employment. He is an economic man who is trying to maximize the resources by utilizing the capabilities of those economic resources, by utilizing the capabilities of the human resource, by using them at the proper place at the proper time. Entrepreneur is an agent. He is an agent who is trying to buy the factors of production at a certain price to combine them into the product with a view to sell them at a higher price with a view to create the resources. Entrepreneur as a person who is creating, who is having the motto of identifying a person who purchased the goods at a certain price with a view to sell them at an uncertain price for the purpose of getting the maximum advantage. The entrepreneur is a risk taker. He takes the risk. He takes the risk and transforms the material into resources. Entrepreneur transforms the material into the resources where he is creating the utility of economic value. As per JB say, the entrepreneur creates the capacity of wealth creation because by transferring the resources to an area of specialized to an area of high productivity, he is creating wealth. He is having the capacity to create wealth. He is adopting a new idea, a new technique to convert the old resources, old methods of using the resources to a newer one. As a it is a practice which is based on knowledge. It is a practice which keeps him at a where he has achieved a high place by the knowledge and understanding of the things. He has a knowledge of the things, the resources, the economic resources, and thus his use makes it unique. Entrepreneur is a person who undertakes risk, who is undertaking the risk to assume a business, to assume the risk of starting on a business. He takes on the responsibilities of his new methods. He promotes the formation of capital because he is undertaking the risk. Definitely, he is going to mobilize the resources, mobilize the savings of the people, the economic resources, the capital to a newer area. He takes the responsibility. He assumes the risk of being the entrepreneur and establishing the business entity. As per the previous definition, the economic resources includes the capital, the savings of the people. When he is raising the capital, attracting the capital in the form of equity, in the form of debt, from getting the loans from the banks, what he is doing, he is utilizing the economic resources of the people and promotes the capital formation. Therefore, the mobilizing of wealth of public and giving those persons who have been utilizing the money previously in an uneconomical way in an area of full productivity to greater yield where they could get the advantage of the money, their money, their resources. He is creating an important impact that explains that the programming of the mind, the collectiveness, where it gives an abundance, founding the similar results, founding a greater result on the basis of the use of the resources. Therefore, increase in the confidence to gain experience. He arranges the finances. He arranges the finance. He provides the social security first to the persons. The entrepreneur change the mindset of of the individuals who generally provides the finance. Those persons can get the advantage because they are guided by the plans of the entrepreneur. There is an opportunity. There is an opportunity of business. There is a business plan. There is a business opportunity, and it gives the entrepreneur the information, the organization, and the procedure used for the purpose of the sources. There is a training, the behavioral training. There is a change in the behavior where he specializes in taking the decisions about coordinating the scarce resources, and the scarce resources are those economic resources which are to be utilized in a economical way. Entrepreneur assumes the risk of starting a new business. Entrepreneur is a link behind the resources because when you assumes the human resource, whether in terms of the employees or the labors, and the economic resources, the money, the capital, at the right time, getting the right amount of capital at the right source, and the cost involved for raising those capital, the material, the material in terms of raw material, and the direct material, indirect material, which are used in the manufacturing activity, which are used when the material are made available in the manufacturing process at the right point of time. The carrying cost of the materials it also to be taken into consideration because it involves the idle cost, maintaining the high stock of raw material in the warehouse instead of the optimum stock, economical order quantity, maintaining the right stock of material in the goods in the warehouse so that they can achieve their maximum output. Entrepreneur is a catalyst in terms of where entrepreneur there is a there is a concept like the facts of production which are to be used in such a manner which achieve the success, and capitalist as an innovative theory. Catalyst as who considers entrepreneurship as a catalyst that initiates and sustains the process of development. The innovation is a key factor. The innovation is a key factor which is introduced by the entrepreneur who assumes risk and organizing the factor production so that the rewards of innovation the rewards of innovation can be achieved by the persons who have given the resources, because the entrepreneurship as an activity and the success of it depends upon the risk bearing ability, the risk taking ability, and how the risk taken are utilized in the rewards, then the power of achievements. As an economic function, the major things are that the human agent is at the center of the progress. He is a link between the resources. The link may be human resource or the material resource. Therefore, entrepreneur is a link between the resources. He is a link between the human resources, as human resources is at the center of the process in the economic development. There is a very explicit about the economic function of an entrepreneur. Very explicitly, it has been stated that he utilizes the economics, he utilizes the money, the material, but at the same point of time, he is an innovator. He invents, he make discoveries, he utilizes the human resource, a new combination of the material and the man in such a manner with the technical work, with the technological knowledge, with the new knowledge of using the techniques, new techniques, it can result into a catalyst, being a catalyst where the key factor remains the innovation. Moreover, the ability to initiate, to start the process of development, and to sustain, to continue the process of development. Therefore, as a concept of entrepreneur, the qualities of entrepreneur, it the quality is where he is the person. Entrepreneur is a person who is behind the rise in the rise of the national income. He is the person behind the increase in the national income in the economy, wherein it is said that the effect, the cause and effect. The cause is the economy, and the reason behind the cause of economy is the entrepreneur. Why? Because as an entrepreneur, he exhibits the qualityism, the purposeful activity of an individual. Why? They undertake initiative, they maintain as a business orientation business unit. They distributes the resources of the economic goods and services. Entrepreneur performs the functions of seeking the investment. He utilizes the production opportunities to its maximum in terms of an enterprise to get the new production, to raise the capital by hiring the to hire, to get the proper human resources, to arrange the supply of the raw material, finding a particular site for the production, introduction of a new technique, introduction of a new commodity, introduction of a new kind of businesses, and operate manage them on day-to-day basis. He anticipates entrepreneur and anticipates the requirement of society. Successfully, he meets the requirement of the daily business and the man, material, money, and a new and creative way, a combination of resources which results to get the maximum advantage of the resources. Therefore, the qualities of an entrepreneur are: he is a person who undertakes the risk to start a new venture, he is a link behind the resources. Entrepreneur is a catalyst because he assumes the risk of starting the business. Entrepreneurship or entrepreneur, he does the novel act and focus on innovation and firm growth on any kind of business, whether small business person or all business person. That entrepreneur needs to strive aggressively towards achieving the economical goal. As a person, economic person, he changes, he transforms the resources into useful goods and useful services, that creating the circumstances which leads to the economic growth of the businesses. Moreover, the risk taking ability, the flexibility, the ability to innovate, he takes the risk of creating because entrepreneur has an analytical ability to understand the uncertainty and determine what things would result in innovation and achieve the success. Entrepreneur, the concept of entrepreneur is says about as a person he organizes, operates the factor of production, and assumes the risk of starting a business. The plans made by the entrepreneur brings the positive changes in the business. And an entrepreneur is an agent, is an economical agent, an agent in the economic system of the country, where entrepreneur is the reason behind increase in the economic development, the increase in the development of the country, of the economy. Entrepreneurship is an activity which is dynamic in nature. It requires the entrepreneur to innovate as he innovates and tries to make new methods of doing the same kind of business. The nature of entrepreneur is such that he can innovate and create new business opportunity at any level, whether at corporate, at national level, and many more factors of production are used, and institutions which actually take participate in the entrepreneurship. And the concept of entrepreneurship as an activity which creates, which innovates in terms of giving the resources, the factors, and performance of an entrepreneur is influenced by the system, by the system of the society, by the rules regulations made by the government, and determine the success of the enterprise.